What's going on YouTube? Jamie the Kid 00 here. You're actually coming to me with a funny time when I felt like multitasking in the weirdest way possible. I'm actually currently doing the washing up, and I've actually been thinking a little bit about all the different tricks and water decks, ironically, that have completely been missed out by the entire player base simply because Mermail Atlanteans happened in Abyss Rising, and all of a sudden every single other possible deck and all of its support got kind of pushed out the way, let's put it that way. Because I've been toying around with a few ideas, and there are so many different applications for Moorland Glacier, it's crazy. And I just kind of felt like talking about them while I did this. So if the water sound is really loud, I'm sorry, but I don't know, I didn't feel like sitting down and doing a discussion, so you're here with me right now. That's disgusting. So yeah, let's get into different ideas, and we'll start off with Moorland Glacier ideas, because these are really quite fun. Right, the first one, which I should probably start off the discussion with, was Moorland Glacier Wind-Ups. Now, listen to that for a title. Moorland Glacier Wind-Ups. Now, you realise that the standard wind-up deck, if we're talking Snowman Eaters and not Spirit Reapers, runs a standard of 5 waters. So that's a start, that's a Moorland right there. And it will, well, if we follow my extra deck, it runs 3 extra deck waters as well, in the form of Leviathan Dragon, Zen Mighty, and Abyss Dweller. So you've got a few extra deck resources to get at as well if you need those last few waters. Because you're always going to get through those 3 sharks in your games. So you're kind of getting to a direction. So myself and a friend were talking about Moorland Glacier Wind-Ups, where maybe you could play Acid Golem, of course, because I don't play Acid Golem. So you play Acid Golem as an extra water in the extra deck. You play your 3 sharks. You play 3 Snowman Eaters. And then you play maybe a salvage, so you get your double shark back. So you're getting more synergy than just splashing a Moorland Glacier in the deck. You're actually getting your shark synergy, you're getting your salvage, so you could salvage out your old dead Snowman Eaters if you're in a tough spot. You could salvage 2 sharks, then summon the first shark, special the second, make a 5 or a 3 or a 4, whichever one you should happen to need. All this while having a bit of grave modulation, and the rats can modulate the grave by removing said sharks, or possibly a Zen Mighty if you have to move the Zen Mighty. So it makes Moorland Glacier stunningly live. So if you think about it, Moorland Glacier Wind-Ups is actually kind of an interestingly doable idea. It's not competitive by any stretch of the imagination, but it's a thought. Another Moorland Glacier application which I've been toying with has been the Nimble deck, which I know day 2'd, I believe, the latest YCS, and it's been making waves recently. That and the Lemuria deck, Moorland Glacier is actually pretty stunning in there, because it has, again, so much manipulation. I saw a build on YouTube recently that ran Exodius the Forbidden Lord to completely flush the graveyard after you'd made an OTK if you had Moorland Glacier in hand, so that you could then build towards the Moorland Glacier. Had no way to search the Moorland Glacier, but that Exodius really started resetting stuff, so that was a really interesting idea that I really quite liked. Other applications for Moorland Glacier. Are we really going to talk about more? Frogs. Let's talk about frogs. Now, frogs have seen a lot of play in the past, of course the Frog Monarch eras, but they've really seen a decrease in play, and now Moorland Glacier is really quite stunning in Lancer Frog and Frog Monarch. It's probably more in Lancer Frog than Frog Monarch, simply because in Lancer Frog you have so much more manipulation with your graveyard, with your Lancers, and things like your salvages and whatnot. But I'd still like to use one in my Frog Monarchs, so I'm still toying with the idea. Either way, I think the Moorland Glacier would be a really interesting idea in that. Think about it, it's a deck that 1-for-1s as a basic fundamental principle, and loses to decks that generate advantage. Like, as in massive advantage in a short space of time, like, say, Wind-Ups. So, if we were playing Frog Monarch, and we were able to drop a Moorland Glacier, that would solidify our advantage engine by +1, because we're removing 2 cards from our opponent's hand, taking away potential threats. And then, of course, if you're feeling dicey, or if your opponent still has a monster on board that even Moorland Glacier couldn't get over, like a BLS, you can drop your Moorland Glacier, then tribute it for Caius and kill the BLS. It all works out. Or I believe you could swap frog it by bouncing it back to hand for next turn if you have like Ronin Totems in the graveyard so that you can manipulate your graveyard. So you have some really interesting ways to modulate your grave there. So I really think that that's quite an interesting possibility. Now let's talk about other water things, because I know we've talked now about Moon and Glacier, and I really quite like it, and I'm probably going to do another segment on it, which is a little bit more professionally done, rather than you sitting here listening to me doing the washing up. Other water decks. Right, here's an interesting project that I've been thinking on that I should probably do as a single video, but I'll let you guys in on now. You remember that card in the starter deck called the first ever water starter deck? Not Neo Daedalus, the smaller one, Levia Daedalus. Well, that recently came out in a lovely secret rare, which is quite nice, so that's a start. And also, it has great application because there are a few more Yumis doing the rounds. Now, I came up with a fun deck, which used Slushy, you know, that really new, funny TCG exclusive, which you can have 3 in grave and banish 1 and get a Sea Serpent out of the grave. Well, that works really stunningly well with Levia Daedalus. So you can start reviving your Levia Daedalus after you've dumped all of your slushies to the graveyard, say using a Frog Engine, and then revive your Levia Daedalus, play either Lemuria or a Legendary Ocean, or Yumi if you want to play it, and nuke your opponent's board, and it's pretty simple to do. Or you can just have the slushies in there, reviving it all day, every day, so that you can just get pluses, because, I mean, how big was it again? 2,600? And you can just keep reviving it like it's a Grapha? For, what, 3 times, 2 times? I can't remember, I haven't got the cards to read at hand right now. So you can keep reviving that, and then playing a Legendary Ocean, which you can terraform, or search off of Warrior of Atlantis, and things like that, so it's really live and really consistent. The build which I was testing actually used the Frog Engine. See, now what it did was, it used basically a Frog Sea Lancer deck, but instead of Light and Darkness Dragons, I played 3 Levia Daedalus, or I tested it with 2 Levia Daedalus and Neo Daedalus, just to mix things up a bit, because Neo Daedalus is crazy because it nukes the field and the hand. So that's quite that's quite something. And I tested the Frog deck, and it dumped everything, and I played a Ninja Engine to get to my Daedalus, and it was really quite something. But you play a Legendary Ocean, you play Legendary Ocean in the deck, yes, in a Frog Monarch deck with Treeborn Frogs, and then what you do is you go hold that Legendary Ocean until you got to your Levia Daedalus. You then go ahead and drop your Levia. So you then go ahead and revive your Treeborn, play a Legendary Ocean, dropping Levia in hand to a 6, then tribute off your Treeborn as a single tribute for Levia Daedalus, and then go ahead and tribute your field spell and make a big old nuke play. So it was really quite live. It was a little bit more inconsistent than Frogs, but it was definitely fun. And then, of course, along the way, you're playing your Frog Engine and dumping your slushies after you've dumped your Ronin and maybe a Frog anyway. So you dump your Treeborn, dump your Ronin, and you start dumping slushies. Or you draw into 1 slushie and then dump everything, you know, dump the second one by summoning the first, and then you dump the third one with a swap frog or V, whichever, you're getting the message. But that was definitely a lot of fun. And then I played a Ninja Engine in it as well to get the Levia Daedalus out. So it was surprisingly consistent. Definitely a lot of fun. So it's definitely worth you guys checking out. I'm just trying to think about what other water deck types I'd come up with. Oh yeah, that was another one that I was interested in. Nimble Coelacanth deck, right? I think that was the Nimble deck that I talked about earlier. But if you play that with Lemuria, but you also play Galaxy Queens, like, because I started talking about the play of, oh, what's his name now? Exodus the Forbidden Lord, the guy you just special summon, and you get to return like everything that's in your graveyard to your deck. Every monster that's in your graveyard to the deck when he comes out. I'm not sure if you have to have a clear field to drop him. If you don't, and this will apply even if you don't, even if he has to have a clear field, because of course this is the Coelacanth play. What you do is you go Coelacanth. You make your Coelacanth play, and you need to have an Exodus in hand. You'd make your Coelacanth play. Discard a card from your hand. Get your fish. Make 1 Xyz, because you're going to need 1 free space. Make 1 Xyz, go Exodus, right? Listen to me here. You go Exodus, return everything in your graveyard, which is cool, and then you go Galaxy Queens, like target Exodus. You now have 4 level 10s on board, so that's 2 Gustavs, or a Galaxy Destroyer, or just fun stuff like that. Or if you don't have the Exodus, you can just go Coelacanth, which is a level 7, I believe. Get 4 fish, go Galaxy Queen's Light, make 2 Big Eyes, or a Big Eye and a Lucky Straight. Crazy plays. Or you can have Lemuria out and bump. I think it only applies on the moment you activate it. So you go Coelacanth, have Lemuria, go activate Lemuria, so Coelacanth will go up by 1, I believe. I need to actually read these cards, so if I'm making mistakes, sorry. So it puts Coelacanth up to 8, and then you make the play, and then you go Galaxy Queen's Light, Xyz, loads of really tiny nimble sunfish into Heliopolis. All of a sudden, you're making crazy plays for days. I really quite like these ideas, and these are all the different water projects which have been completely overlooked by this Mermail junk. I mean, you can do Coelacanth Mermails. It's crazy. What you do is you go Coelacanth with your Linds in deck. You make Coelacanth, use this effect, special summon 3 Linds, crash those Linds into, say, an opponent's Thunder King, I don't know, smash all those Linds into a Thunder King, and each Lind will get you a Megalo or an Abyss lead. Wow. And of course then if you're playing the Megalo variants, of course your Megalos aren't going to be dead in... So your Coelacanths aren't going to be dead in hand, because you can ditch them to special summon your Megalos from your hand. And you can do crazy things. Crazy, crazy things. You just have to cut out a bit of the Atlantean engine to run this, but you can run this pretty damn speedily, simply because there's a massive Mermail element that's fish. It's probably more suited to Cosmo Blazar, because of course you can play Abyss lead in it, because of course you're going to want a few more targets if you're going to be bringing out your Abyss Linds, or instead of using spheres you're going to be using Coelacanth, so you do need to have more targets for your spheres and big plays like that, but otherwise it's pretty interesting. Either way, guys, if you actually want to see me develop any of these ideas I've talked about, because I'm now done with the washing up. Something fell over. I'm now done with the washing up. If you want to see me develop these ideas, feel free to comment on this video saying which deck you'd like me to do. So, like, Moon Glacier Wind-Ups, Nimble deck, Nimble Galaxy Queen deck, Coelacanth Mermails. If you want to see me develop any of these ideas on DN or in real life if I have the cards, feel free to drop me a little comment on the bottom of this video. Let me know what you thought. Again, I'm sorry about any potential noise that would have been created by the sink and me doing the washing up, but I just felt like recording this now, so if you didn't hear anything, or if you couldn't hear something that I say, put a time frame in, ask me what I said, I'll tell you what I said, and hopefully everything will be cleared up. But otherwise, this is me, Jamie the Kid 00, and I'll see you guys next time with some more content. Hope you've enjoyed my washing up ramblings. See you later. Bye.